Needs to play with both of them at once for a good mood and health. Chapter Green. The striking figure of the gentleman in the sleek blue sports BMW. With his handsome features and luscious curly hair neatly tied back, his long olive gray eyes exuded a captivating allure. It was their third rendezvous, and yet again, they found themselves in the elegant ambiance of a fine dining establishment. He took the extra effort to swap his work attire for a tailored jacket and crisp shirt, perfectly complementing Margot's chic cocktail dress. She sat, savoring a glass of wine in the refined atmosphere of Docchini's restaurant. Anticipation filled the air. A small family Italian restaurant with very good cuisine. And then the world stopped and he walked in, a grand, respectable, handsome man. She stood up to greet him, and deciding not to leave a mark of lipstick on his cheek, kissed the air, to which he perked up and replied, "Oh, did you blow me a kiss?" Obviously, he did not expect this. "You look glamorous." She modestly lowered her gaze, and her mouth stretched into a sweet smile. It is necessary to mention, this was another newly made suitor of Margo. She decided that going for a walk and having two at once was the secret dream of many women around the world. How many suitors do you really need? There is only one answer. It depends on individual characteristics. Someone is content with one thing and decides to be with him until old age. Such people are in the minority. But beautiful, long-legged minks like Margo deserve more than one, and which ones too? Margo was about 40. And this successful Balzac age, when you are standing on the border, you can be 10 years younger and the same gap older, only thanks to the omnivorous nature of men in Australia. In Europe, there is a slightly different situation, and in America too. But Australia is the most progressive in terms of gender. Another week passed since then, and they quickly met again on Valentine's Day, which fell on a Saturday. On Friday evening, she had to go to his place by 8:30 p.m. By some strange coincidence, Friday was the 13th. And the day before she was in the shower covered in soap, her son knocked on the door, and she was covered in soap, and without drying herself, ran down the stairs to open the door for her son. And, oh God, she slipped on the very first step and literally went down on her ass. Ignoring everything and everyone, she was in a hurry to go on a date with Green. It was pouring rain. She entered Green's apartment. He gave her a bouquet of 11 roses and how she wanted a card, a gift voucher from a good shoe store. He gently applied ice to her swollen ass and took pity on her. Most recently, my arm hurt. He tore a muscle in the biceps area. Wealthy people are kind of gloomy. The Italian told her that the owner of the La Porchetta cafe chain had been shot, and when Green gave her flowers, he mentioned that his florist had recently died and that his wife was now running the flower shop. Green's tinge of gloom was present in almost everything. The furniture in his house was very simple, and there was very little of it, and the walls were quite faded. Chapter Sex Drive. They were in his bedroom. He changed the bed linen to a beautiful white floral one, instead of an ugly pale brown one. Even her sore bottom didn't stop them from making love. He started a strange conversation with her about how the size of a woman's vagina is important to him. His ex-Russian girlfriend had a small one that he couldn't fit into. He even talked about special sticks that women with small vaginas insert into themselves and masturbate for expansion. Our sex life started with 6 out of 10, and then we dropped to 3 out of 10, and then everything completely collapsed. I like you more than just a beautiful face and figure. So you like my character too? Yes. Then he asked about her personal life. She described 2 Russian lovers. Then he said, "Ask anything about me. I know about you. Several girls. You don't want to get married and have children yet." "No, why, I want in the future, of course, with a woman who can do this, who corresponds to my IQ level of 160, and who is smart and intellectual. I'm not 37 years old. I don't care how old you are, because we will never get married and have children." "Yes, I know, but when you say it openly like this, doesn't it kill the romanticism between us?" "No, it's interesting and helps to learn something new and learn from the experience of others." And then she felt how her mood deteriorated, that the invisible thread that supported even the desire for sex with him was severed. How long do you think we can hold out? Maybe until May, when I go to America for 5 weeks. Well, when you return, we can too. Well, maybe by then you and I will have found others. Margo thought how amazing, again sex without commitment, wow? Where is love and relationships? But on the other hand, he is good entertainment for her. He is handsome, generous, and knows that he should be grateful for sex with a woman. By morning, her desire to have sex with him had completely disappeared. And he felt it, but as always, he took the initiative into his own hands. Do you know why I let you lick my penis? Because you have such beautiful lips. And I like to touch your elastic, big, beautiful breasts, and lick your protruding clitoris. God, how crazy this started to excite her, and she had an orgasm once again. But somehow her opinion was broken, and she decided that this was the beginning of the end on both sides. Having loaded herself into the car, she went home, having previously eaten breakfast in a cafe. She asked for money for breakfast, he gave her $50. Chapter Trauma. Margo arrived home and, seeing the horror of her situation, a huge red-violet-blue spot, burst into tears. It wasn't just a patch of gore, but a gaping, chaotic, constellation-like or northern lights-like thing right on the right side of her ass. She didn't know how to continue living. Dying from grief and frustration, she went and bought a bottle of French Chardonnay, and for 3 hours did nothing more than emptying it. After getting drunk, she wrote a long text message to Green about how she saw herself lying on the couch in a BDSM collar and a red dress, and that she hoped her dream would come true. He did not answer, and glory to the Almighty, or to some other forces involved in starting or stopping various life situations. She thought about her job at the massage parlor, and how she wouldn't be able to go to the Saturday night shift, and how she would miss out on money, especially money. After all, she only has 2 to 3 weeks left to complete her day job in court. And then a long, sticky, nasty, cold uncertainty about the day jobs. Jim will most likely come to see and spend time with her. He had already asked how many times why Christina, that's her other name, wasn't there, and when she would finally come. He was a bit of a fetishist. He loved to have his toes licked and put on his t-shirts, jackets, or shirts. He was a good client, he constantly admired her and gave her tips. A cool guy, a Greek, perhaps the only Greek whom she could call normal. Yes, she came back to work at the brothel again. How strange, she reasoned in confusion. I started there when I was married and continue when I got divorced. Margo perceived this work as temporary, forced, emergency. It was necessary to earn funds, then she was tired of ordinary work, where she had to bend over backwards, endure and pay taxes. She wanted something more extreme, to have more time for herself and her son, and something not ordinary. How tired she was of work that was taxed, but what she was doing could be hidden from the tax office if desired. This was what warmed and spurred her on the most. I'll still have time to hunch my shoulders at a regular job, but I need to work at this one for a year or two, while my age allows, and then get back into a regular 9-to-5 job. Margo was over 35, but nevertheless she was accepted as a lady of the night. It amazed her. In Russia, people usually leave this line of work as soon as they reach 30 or even less. Chapter Goodbye, Mr. Green. So she was almost sure that she was done with Mr. Green, especially after the strange grimaces he gave her before she left for breakfast. Well, what can you do, she thought. In the end, she had a very good time and went to the restaurant. He was only her playing a devoted gentleman, a gift, flowers for Valentine's Day. A good start from Sugar Daddy website. Yes, we can confidently say he was her first man on this site, and not the worst option. Amen. Chapter Movie 50 Shades of Grey. Less than 3 days later, he called again, and she wanted to meet again. Came to the premiere of 50 Shades of Mr. Grey. She was wearing a red dress with no neckline, no cutouts, but it hugged her nicely. She decorated the dress with large soft beige beads. As always, he was gorgeous and freshly shaven, and it was obvious that he was glad to see her. After watching a sadistic film on the big screen, they went to eat pizza at home for dinner. But before that, they ate at the cinema. He ordered a banquet of 5 dishes, which turned out to be spicy. Margo decided to ask for $200 and waited for the right moment. Going out to the shower to wash, she kept thinking, looking closely at herself in the mirror, before sex or after sex? So before or after, think Margo, think. The bruise in one place had already begun to heal, but in many places there were still reddish-blue veins. She entered his bedroom, put on a mask, and picked up a whip. She decided to keep her beads and bra on, so the performance was about to begin, and very soon. She lay across the bed, ordering him to come to the edge. She took his penis into her mouth and began to slowly slide her lips up and down on it. Margo already knew how much he loved blowjob. If you just lick it like ice cream, that's a no. But if you stick the head completely into your mouth and make sliding movements up and down, that's a yes. At the same time, you had to compress your lips a little to get a semi-tight ring. He began to moan, then clung to her nipples, and began to caress her clitoris with the thumb of his right hand. God, how she loved his moans. Hearing a man moan was the highest pleasure for her. They lay tired from orgasm, and then Margo decided that this was the right moment to ask about money. I wanted to ask you for something, he nodded. You know, I need $200 to pay my phone bill. He was silent. Margo decided to continue the explanations that were uncomfortable for her. I received too much of a phone bill because I used a lot of gigabytes and exceeded the limit for SMS messages. He remained silent again, and she decided to take a break to give him time to think. This is the moment of truth, the triumph of the victory of reason over emotions. The crown of creation, the measure of equality, social inequality, the dominance of the material over the spiritual. Oh, how difficult it turns out for wealthy people to part with pennies. Yes, of course I will help you, he said, but it seems to me that you should no longer stay here for the night, but only come for a few hours, because it seems to me that you think we have started a relationship, but this is not so. This place is not vacant. She looked at him in surprise. I wonder what he's getting at. Is it really so difficult to give petty dollars and not say nasty things? Why did you decide that I think so? You told me a long time ago. You and I are only until May, and then it will all be over. What kind of relationship could there be? Tears flowed from excessive emotions. She didn't even understand why. I'm crying not because I want a relationship, but because you told me in a rude manner that nothing can happen between us. I'm sorry I didn't mean to. I'm sorry it went too far, but I really don't want to get attached to anyone, but you're special. I want to be your friend. A friend, she said. But I don't. When we stop being lovers, there will be no friendship, because I know what will happen then. You will tell me about your mistresses, and I will tell you about my lovers. Just disappear later, and don't need any texts about the fact that I don't want to see you. Fine. But I didn't say it would be all over. I told you then that we would start going on shoots with others. We are not in an exclusive relationship. And in general, I am now seeing an Italian woman. She is 29 years old. I once sent her down the stairs for her bad behavior and dreams of a relationship with me, but after some time she began to get in touch with me and caught me playing tennis. She is also a life coach and gives me some lectures sometimes, and sometimes we fuck. But she is also not a suitable match for marriage, since she is crazy and not suitable
Find
for me.
my audio and ebooks
I
on
agree to this
Booktopia, Smashwords, Kobo, Spotify, Everan, Google Play, Amazon Kindle, Audiobooks.com, Findaway Voices.